welcome back to the One in a Million channel. My name is Eunice Chan, and today oh my gosh, we're talking about something so interesting, so juicy, something that I have worked on in my life for the longest time, and I want to be sharing my insights with you. Today, we are talking about what do you do when your partner is not into self or spiritual development, when your partner is not into manifestation and you are. Like you're doing the inner work, you're doing the manifestation. Now, what do we do when we have a partner like that? So, as you can see here behind me is some beautiful pictures of me and my dear husband, Diego. And we have been together for a couple years now, I'm not counting. So, I think this is such an interesting topic because for so many of us, especially for those of you who are like watching this video right now, it's like you are already into spiritual development. You are already into working yourself. Like you're convinced. You don't need someone to convince you to like push you into doing it. And you find the value in it, and it's like so nourishing and enriching for you that it's like it's just expanding your life. And at the same time, you being with this partner that you have, you like the qualities of this person, and this person makes you feel in love, but at the same time, like that person is just not into self-development or spirituality. So what do you do about that? Especially for people like me who's already married, like I don't plan on changing my partner. So it's like, how do I share a life with you? We're talking about that. How do you share a life together when you have these fundamental differences? So, for those of you who are like working on yourself and you're putting in the effort in your inner work, when people tell you to just like focus on yourself and keep working on yourself, a lot of times it really feels unfair. And I can really feel that to the core of my being when my coach told me just keep working on yourself. It feels really unfair because all of this self-development work that I'm doing, it feels like yes, I'm doing it for myself, but at the same time it's like I'm doing his share. It feels like I'm doing it for him. Like there's no part of me that can justify me doing the work for the both of us. It's like, why can't you, like the protesting part of me, part of my mind is like, why can't you just pick up your part of the work, pick up your part of the chaos and the mess and the emotions, the untaken care of emotions that you've had from your past, and why can't you do your part so that I can do my part, right? And then we can meet halfway, and then we can become better together. But when better together is not in the dictionary, and it's really more like better better like doing it alone, then this is exactly what we are here to talk about. There is something that you can do about this, and there are some shifts that I have shifted in my life that has made my romantic relationship with Diego just so much better than ever. We are each other's best friends. We bring out the best of each other. And this is due to the work that I have been doing for myself. So, this is exactly what we're here to talk about. So, yes, I understand it feels unfair. We're going to talk about this. Now, for people who are not into manifestation, I want you to know that your partner does not need to understand manifestation in order to manifest. It is true. Manifest is a known concept that has its own word, that has its own you know process, that has its own concept that is derived from human experiences that people have carried out, and they have looked back in their life and they have seen, oh, I have manifested something, well, this is what I did. But you don't need to know manifestation. You don't need to have heard of the concept of manifestation. You don't need to have heard about, think it, feel it, and be it. You don't need to know those concepts in order to manifest. because manifestation is a natural occurrence in life. So as long as they're alive, as long as they're kicking and breathing and walking and just, living, they're manifesting. So your partner does not need to know the concept of manifestation in order to manifest things in your life. You don't have to think that, oh, if I don't teach them manifestation and if I don't give them this concept, then they're not going to manifest something great. They are, and they're going to continue to manifest something great. You just got to just let life happen. You just got to let go. Okay? I know it's hard because I have tried to teach my partner and share the concept of manifestation when he was just not into it. And I was like, well, this thing right here, it's so great. Why don't you just take it and learn it? Just listen to it. You don't have to think about it. Just listen to it. Right? But there was so much resistance that I was like, my desire was generating that resistance in him. And so at this point, I'm like, manifestation is just going to happen. Life is going to happen through him, regardless if I try to teach him manifestation. So that's going to happen on its own. You don't have to worry about it. Now, what I realized about like my own desires for him to become a better person, for him to grow, for him to develop, is that I am projecting what I want for myself onto him. So, in a sense, I am giving him a lot of pressure. I am putting a lot of expectation for him. The moment when I stopped projecting my desires onto him, the moment that's when the tension diffused. That's when he stopped being defensive. That's when he stopped being argumentative. That's when he stopped like being just difficult, for the lack of a better word, because I became less difficult to project my desires on him. So I stopped having these expectations and instead I just, have these desires to myself. Like, what do I want for myself? I just give them to myself instead of putting that onto him. Because when I do that, like when I project my desires onto anyone, like outside of my partner, it creates a lot of tension in the relationship. And honestly, nobody wants that. It's not good for him, it's not good for me, and it's not good for our chemistry. So don't project your desires onto another person. Just live your life. You get to have your desires, and those desires are yours and yours alone without trying to impact and manipulate the free will of another person. So, having said that, there was also a part of me that wanted to idealize the relationship. Like, this is how an ideal relationship is supposed to look like. This is how I want the relationship to look like. I want both of us to be working on ourselves. I want us to, be moving towards like a common goal, a common target, want to be better together, blah, blah, blah. And when I didn't get that, like that picture, that perfect couple picture that I wanted, there was disappointment and there's hurt. There's a part of me that's like, you're the reason why I'm hurt. And so I've come to realize that this is my hurt, this is my disappointment, and it's not his to handle. It's mine to handle. So, what that means is I have to process this disappointment within myself. I have to process this hurt within myself that is generated from excess, like putting excess attention onto trying to make him into a different person or to try to make him interested in something that I'm so interested in because I have idealized this relationship. Like I have built this concept of something that didn't even exist and trying to make him step in and fulfill that. So when I just dropped that, when I released him from the responsibility to handle my hurt, to handle my disappointment, and I took ownership of that, our relationship skyrocketed. So the next thing that I wanted to talk about was my spiritual ego. Now, a lot of us who have been doing spiritual work for a while, and we have become a lot more self-aware, and we are aware of how we're feeling, and we know that, this is why we do what we do, and this is the hurt, and this is the trauma, this is the pain, and we're able to, process them. And sometimes when we look back in our past, or when we look at other people, especially other people, and when we look at the world, we're like, oh, you folks are unaware. You ever get that? Like, you folks are unaware. You guys don't know what you're doing. I'm aware. I'm over here. I can see what's happening. And there's this spiritual ego that comes into play. It plays with our head, it plays with our heart, and it makes us feel like because we have done the inner work, we're better. And I'm going to admit, like, there's so many points in my life, in our relationship, especially in the beginning parts of our relationship when we started living together, where I really felt this. I felt like, I can see what you're doing. You're avoiding pain. You're avoiding the things that you don't want to look into. And it's just like being so upfront in his face about it. It's like, I can see what you're not seeing. Oh, look at the world. They're being pulled into the drama. They're being unconscious. They're being unaware. Look at them getting sucked into the drama. But here I am, just like heightening myself with my own ego. The moment I recognized this, I had to put it down because I realized I was really playing this role of like, because I'm more spiritual, I'm better than you. And this really creates a disconnect in the relationship then, because then the relationship is really not based on love. It's based on like how I'm better than you. And because I am aware that you are unaware, it puts me in a higher position, right? And then there's the superiority. Like I feel a sense of superiority, and because you're unaware, you're kind of more inferior than me. And it really isn't a good feeling. It doesn't feel good for me, and it doesn't feel good for him. And he always feels like, oh, you just feel like you're all that. You feel like you know everything. You feel like you're better just because you you do your spirituality and he doesn't. He has his own pursuits. He likes football, he likes watching Netflix, and for the longest time it's like, no, that's not good for you, right? That's all the ego. And I had to drop that. I had to put that away. So the last thing that I wanted to talk about, regarding to all the fears that we're addressing right here, because it's all the fear that's like playing a part, that's causing the tension and separation in a relationship and the disconnection. So the last part I wanted to address was legitimate fear. Legitimate. Like, guys, I cannot tell you how many times I've come back and revisited this theme of, what if I grow so much that I want to leave him? I'm not kidding. Like, I'm not kidding when I say that this was a genuine thought. What if I develop myself so much spiritually and develop myself so much, and I make more money, and I live a better life, and we're no longer on the same channel, and we're no longer at the same wavelength, and we no longer resonate, that I want to leave him? And then I find other people that resonate a lot more with me spiritually, and we can talk about the same things, and we can see eye to eye, and we see the world in the same way. I'm telling you, and I want to validate you, it's normal, it's valid that you feel this way. Now, having walked this path, and I continue to walk, and I continue to develop myself, and I continue to deepen my understanding of what it means to be with someone who's not interested in spirituality and manifestation and self-development, is that when I change, I feel differently. I feel differently about this whole thing. Because what I've realized is, when I had that fear, I was really looking through the consciousness of the person who had that much fear. You understand what I mean? It's like, when I was projecting these thoughts like outwards, and I had all these fears, That's why I wasn't developing myself, and that's why I was like focusing so much attention on like trying to make grow, and I didn't want to develop myself because I thought that if I grow a lot and if I go further much ahead, in my consciousness, that I would want to leave him behind. But that thought and that fear actually came from a lower consciousness. It came from me being at a place of fear. And when I transcended that fear and I continued to work on myself, like I realized to myself, you know what? I'm just going to work on myself. I'm just going to focus on myself. And I'm going to let him just continue watch his Netflix, continue watch his football, continue to like just be angry in his angry moments. I'm not going to force him to heal. I'm not going to force him to meditate. He hates meditating. He hates doing anything like spiritually related. And that's okay. That's totally okay. I feel differently because I continue to work on myself. And now I've just embraced the fact that, you know what? I love him. Like, love is love. Love is love. Love is love. And I don't have to rationalize why I love him anymore. Oh, I love you because you do these things. I love you because you agree to meditate. I love you because of all these conditions that you have met within my request. No. Now it's just I'm able to be at this place where I feel radiant and I feel like I am so fulfilled with work that I do for myself that I feel differently about the entire situation. It's like now you don't need to do any of these things. I'm still happy. I'm still happy and I'm still happy about the relationship. So I can love you really for who you are. So that was the fifth fear that I've addressed. Now I want to move on to how like what you can do and how you can navigate these kind of relationships because I think that this is a very powerful conversation from a spiritual person talking to another spiritual person who does not have a partner who's into this kind of stuff. And a lot of times when we're in this place, it feels lonely. It feels like you really don't have anyone else to talk to. It's hard to find someone else who is on the same spiritual path as you, let alone being with someone who's on a spiritual path that is on the same wavelength as you, that hit it off with you, and at the same time that has a partner that is not into all this kind of stuff. So it's really hard to find someone who resonates with you. So I wish I had met someone who would tell me what to do. So my coach told me that I just needed to keep working on myself, so I took her advice. But here are some things that I know you can actually do that'll actually make a difference. If you hear squawking in the background, it's because there's a parrot living next door to us. Hi, parrot. Boop, 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 boop. Okay, sorry for getting distracted. So, tip number one that you can do is come back to a relationship and remember why you started the relationship. Like, remember the spark that you felt in the first place. Remember how that person made you feel. Remember why you, remember like why you felt so alive when you were with this person. And when I did that, it was like none of those things that he does right now matter. It's all about like the aliveness that I felt, how seen I felt, how loved I felt, how cherished I felt. When I started being with this person, I felt all those things. I felt good about myself. I feel beautiful. I feel sexy. I feel desired. And all those things I have not allowed myself to feel because I was so busy focusing on like trying to make him into spirituality that I forgot how I felt when I first started dating him. So this is the first thing you can do is like come back to this place, come back to the magic. Oh my gosh, hello Hennis. Yes, it is a parrot at the background. Come back to this place of the magic. Even if your partner is on a different place, like on a different place of consciousness than you, there was something that your partner awakened in you when you met, when you had that spark together. You remember the chemistry that you had together? Remember that, live in that, feel that, experience that, nurture that feeling. Like if it means that you need to close your eyes and feel that, recall some of the moments you had in the past. Like, this is why I have these pictures here, you know? These are some of the best like moments of our life, going out, drinking, having a good time, enjoying each other, appreciating each other's qualities, me just like laughing my head off at his jokes. Like, these moments, it's not about, you know, sharing like the same values and vision anymore. It's just reliving that spark inside of you, remembering how that person made you feel, and how does this person complement you as a person. So this is tip number one. This is very, very important. Allow yourself to live that spark and that magic again. So tip number two is really not to judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree. Like, that person was not gifted in life with the gift of spirituality, or, you know, that area in life. This person is gifted in so many other ways. These gifts you were able to see when you first got together. So appreciate the qualities that actually stand out to you, the qualities that you feel like really make a difference. Those are the things that you really need to be focusing on, not trying to love him in the place where he or she is not, right? Because when we try to seek reasons to love our partner and accept our partner for the things that we tell them they cannot do, or we see that they cannot do, the things that they're struggling with, it's going to be really hard for you to find reasons to love them. You know, because, oh, they've got to fulfill this condition, and then unless they meet this expectation, then you will not love them fully, and that's going to create a lot of dissonance. It's going to create a lot of disconnection. It's going to create conflict, because that person is not made to do that. That person would not pursue that in 100 lifetimes. So you gotta find the love in the places where that person can most naturally give it. So tip number 3 is that to start to see this person being the reason and being the vessel and the channel as a means to your own spiritual maturity. So what I mean by that is, this was a really big shift for me, you guys. Like for me to actually be able to talk about this is just it's just, you know, a whole new level. So what I mean by that is, when this person, your partner, is not into spirituality at all, or self-development at all, and they have no intention of bettering themselves, your maturity is going to come through the acceptance of that. That is transcending your consciousness. From the consciousness of resistance, from the consciousness of this is not what I want in life, from the consciousness of I have built an idealistic life, idealistic, you know, partner or idealistic relationship, and projecting your desires onto other people, to taking ownership of all of that, healing, handling your disappointment, handling your sadness, and then transcending through those things that you think you cannot have. And I'm going to tell you, those things that you think that you cannot have, like, they're actually illusions. Because when you transcend them, you actually you won't try to change the other person. It's just that powerful. But that person, your partner, is literally the gateway. It's that person is the path to your spiritual maturity, believe it or not. Had I not met my husband, Diego, had he not resisted, had I not projected everything onto him, had we not had these like different fights and discussions about why spirituality and self development is so important. Had we not gone through that, I would not have the same level of growth and personal power and personal responsibility in the way that I do now. So the growth could not have taken place had it not been for him, had it not been for his resistance, had it not been for him just showing me that Eunice, you have to take a look at what's on your own plate instead of trying to tell me how to live my life. And this is how I learned personal responsibility is by is through him. Is exactly through our disagreements. So the last thing that you can do, the fourth and last thing you can do, is to remember why you've decided to walk on the spiritual path and stay in your own lane. Now, I know in the beginning of this video, we talked about how it feels like when we do, our own inner development and our inner healing and our inner work, like for the cost of two people, when we're doing it for the both of us, it feels really unfair because I feel like I'm doing all the heavy lifting for you. I literally said that. I'm not joking. It feels like I'm doing all the heavy lifting for you. But when I realize that my spiritual path, my self-development path, is my journey to walk, meaning that I had not agreed to come to this world to walk somebody else's path. I am here to walk my own path. And when I decide to walk this path, there's no condition that other people need to do the same thing with me, that other people need to heal with me, that other people need to come along the ride with me. There's no other of these conditions except for the fact that I just want to give this to myself because I am that important to myself. And when I can actually give this acknowledgement back to myself, meaning I can learn to find my own power. I can learn to find my own happiness. I can center myself wherever I am. I get to heal my own wounds. I get to look past the things that didn't work out for me. I get to forgive. I get to let go. I get to dream. I get to visualize. I get to move my vibration. I get to elevate my consciousness. How good is that? Would that change a thing? Even if my partner does not want to develop himself? No. No, I'm not going to let anyone else take that away from me. I'm not going to let anyone else dilute the focus on myself because it's so, it's that good. I just want to give it back to myself. So you owe this to yourself. This is what it eventually comes back to. This is the thing that connects all of this is your desire to walk your own path for yourself. When you make this decision to walk the path for yourself, all the projections and all the expectations onto other people, they just fall off. They fall off. And you will not hold other people accountable for your happiness. And then you're just going to grow and grow and grow and get happier and happier and heal and just pursue your own path. That is the amazing part of it. So it is with so much pleasure that I am here to share this with you today because as you can see, I have derived all these insights myself. And had I not committed to walking this path for myself, and had I not let go of his responsibility to do all these things to make me happy, I would not have been able to tell you this. So here's to all of your healing. Here's to all your spiritual path and journey. I hope that this was super nourishing for you, because I know for those of you who are in this situation, it feels so lonely. It feels like nobody understands. But you guys, this girl, I understand. And I just want to let you know that you are not alone in this path. There's so many of us that are, on the same path, that are on the spiritual journey, that feels like, oh my gosh, in this relationship, I'm so misunderstood. But I just want to let you know that the support is here. Like, support is here, the community is here, the comment boxes are here for you to share your experiences with me. And at the same time, you owe this path, this focus on yourself to yourself. So with that said, I'm sending you so much love, and let me know what you guys think of this video. Thank you for being here. With that said, I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Ciao.